Hello, and welcome to The Silver Lining, the weekly geekly talk show where we discuss any number of geeky topics that may have come up over the course of the week. We had a few of them this week, so I had to kind of pick and choose what we were going to talk about. Hello, everyone. My name is Uncle Silver, a.k.a. Silver Greg, a.k.a. Greg, whatever you feel like calling me. Welcome to you, my co-host, the chat. I love having you all here to discuss whatever we really feel like talking about. Well, you know, the topics that I set forth, and then we have the viewer topics portion, which you can then discuss whatever you would like to talk about. It feels like forever since I was here, even though it's been only 3 days. And then, Ryan, why the meh? Is the show not? Am I already disappointing? Is that what's going on here? I mean, I get it if that's what's happening, but yeah, I hope everybody had a relatively okay week, and if you did not, welcome to the silver lining of that week. That's exactly how it's supposed to work. But yeah, Agent Fox, Ryan, I'm sorry, Nayer Man, what is going on? How are you guys doing? Yeah, it's been end it with a barbecue. It was a good week. It's always a good week when you end with a barbecue. I had bacon wrapped chicken last night, which is always like a fantastic week. I know it's just Ryan. Shitty week. Well, then Ryan, then yes, then appropriately so. Welcome to the silver lining of that week. You should always look forward to this part of the week. And if you do look forward to this part of the week, be sure to click follow up there. And then if you feel so inclined, you subscribe and you donate and then you take a shower because you feel dirty after saying that stuff over and over again. My week started with a bummer, but then the Joker DLC happened. I like Sideways. Also hi. The plate of spicy chicken wings in the other room taunts me. Hey Latimer, Lilac, Aquasacora, Brawlhaven, what's going on? Yeah, it's been an interesting week. We had some wild stuff happen throughout the week, and then we had some so there were two things that sort of came up. There was one that I was not at all going to discuss, and these two things I'm not going to discuss them, but I strongly suspect they're going to pop up in the viewer topics just because I have a feeling they're going to be things that someone may want to talk about. I refrained from putting them as actual show topics just because I felt they were a little not incendiary, but I don't know, maybe it was going to stir up a little bit too much, and I hate the idea of doing clickbaity type conversations just for the sake of it, but I do know that they are things that people want to get discussed. Dragoon Knight, Rooster, what's happening? If anyone likes Starbomb, a new album was just released. I have not. I know of Starbomb. I didn't know that they had a new album coming out. I think Cella Dweller has something new coming out. I thought I saw something new that I'm a bit more interested in. So you don't work at Kotaku then? No, Ryan, I believe in researching my sources before I start putting stories out. Gabby, what's going on? I don't like clickbait, but topic number 3 will shock you. But wait, I don't like clickbait, but wait until you see the topics I did pick. Number 3 might surprise you. No, it's been an okay week. It's a little bit of a downer. I'm back in that. What if I just sell all of my collection and then take all the money and run? I'm in that mindset again where I'm back to looking at everything that I have. 3 collections in particular, my SNES, NES, and Genesis games, especially with the Genesis Mini coming out. And I'm in that mindset where I look at it all and think, man, I could probably get X amount of dollars for this, and that would do a lot. You know what I mean? So it's always a question of would I ever bite the bullet? And that's always sort of the weird question. Little Mills did a cover of the theme song from Shadow the Hedgehog. Okay. How can a news site just let an article go out without vetting it? Yeah, bruh, exactly. We'll like I said, we'll probably discuss that later. Something as shocking as the Anthem scandal. Is there a new Anthem scandal? Is Wing Zero? Is there an Anthem scandal, or is there a schedule that will tell us what stages of the scandal will be released? All right. I kind of want to jump into the topics really quick, just because I have a feeling we are going to run a bit long with some of these, especially with the viewer topics, like I said. So I want to get into some of these. And the first one is, we got a new list for the Genesis Mini. The Genesis Mini, my original understanding was that the Genesis Mini was going to have 20 games on it, and we got 10 of those names. Now what I'm seeing is that there's actually 40 games. We got 10 before, and now we just recently got 10 more games. So I'm looking up the list of games here. Okay. I just wanted to have that. Wait, what is the article everyone's talking about? Kotaku. Well, we can discuss it later if you want to bring it back up. The short version is Kotaku posted an article making some claims that turn out to not be true, but could easily have been proven not true with a very, very, very simple search. Yeah, that's really all I want to get into. For now, anyway. We like I said, if you discuss this during viewer topics, we will talk about this later. These mini consoles are hype. Mini consoles are all the rage. Truth be told, this is another situation that I feel Nintendo has helped create. Yes, there were mini systems before, but they were always terrible. Nobody ever cared. There's been 9 Atari minis or whatever. There was a Genesis at Games mini before, which was a disaster. Like, they've been around, but Nintendo proved that they can be done 100% perfectly. And I think that is causing other companies to see that they can do it too. We've had this talk before. We've had to talk about the idea of what minis we'd want to see, what games we'd want to see on those minis. But for right now, they had originally released 10 games for the Genesis Classic, or Genesis Mini. They just released 10 more. Assuming this list, let me see if this list is in order. See, this list is in order. Okay. Originally what we got was, is this list? I want to make sure that the list is in order, because I don't want to read out the wrong thing. Let's see here. Look, see, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. You look up. You have an idea for a topic, and the first thing you do is you look it up. Weren't those plug and play though? These are plug and play. That's what these are. These are plug and play systems. You plug them in and you play. The only difference is, some of those were like joystick things. Well, the At Games one, for instance, would look like a little different version of a Genesis, and it took Genesis cartridges, but it had a little controller and everything. Like, they're all plug and play systems. Plug and play just means that you plug it up and you don't have to install games or anything. There's games already on it. Whether you install more games later, that's really up to you. Yeah, then there were the TV plug and play games before that. Yeah, see, Ryan, here's the thing. I agree with you that one of the best things is that they are ridiculously easily hackable. But even without hacking, they functioned fantastically and had great games on them. So even if you didn't hack them, I still feel you got your $60 worth out of the 30 games that were on the NES Classic. The hacking is just is 6 layers of icing on the cake. Like, I love it. I'm gonna be excited for Genesis when Sega has a weird track record as weird as it is. And yeah, Dragoon Knight, that is something I want to address. So the first 10 games originally were Sonic the Hedgehog, Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines, Space Harrier 2, Shining Force. I think Space Harrier 1 was on the Mega Drive, the Master System. Shining Force 1, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Toe Jam and Earl, Comic Zone, Altered Beast, and Gunstar Heroes. Already a relatively decent lineup. You got a little mishmash of a lot of different things in there, so that actually functions very well. The next 10 games that were announced: Earthworm Jim 2, awesome game. Earthworm Jim 1, awesome game. Hard as balls. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, that's a given. That should be a given. Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse, I find an odd but good inclusion because that is a good game. World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, interesting inclusion. Makes sense, especially with the one before it. Contra Hardcore, yes. Streets of Rage 2, yes. Thunder Force 3, that's a bit of a surprise. But I love it, but it's a surprise. Super Fantasy Zone, decent game. Shinobi 3, I was never a giant Shinobi fan. And Landstalker, which is Landstalker is an out of left field inclusion. Again, not a bad inclusion, but very out of left field. Am I actually on time now? Yes. Yeah, we started like 13 minutes. Real edgy. The real surprise is I was actually on time. Okay, so I heard Streets of Rage 2. This is a fantastic list. I think that this is a fantastic list so far. This is 20 games of the 40 that are going to be on there. There are some obvious exclusions so far. But notice, we got Streets of Rage 1 in the first 10 list, and now we got Streets of Rage 2. So it's not like we're getting 1 or 2 representations of all these series. I think it is blatantly obvious / 100% expectable that we're going to get Earthworm Jim 2, that we're going to get Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, hopefully a way to combine them. If we don't get Sonic and Knuckles, that'd be a surprise, but at least we get Sonic 3, Streets of Rage 3, Thunder Force 4. I think that those are obvious inclusions. Hey, Minion. Some of the games like Earthworm Jim surprised me when I found out. This is an awesome selection of games so far. All right, so we're gonna mention the Genesis Collection on PS4. You're more than welcome to, but these kinds of systems are a different beast. I'm gonna say this again, just like I said this before when we've had these talks before about these systems. If you are an avid PC gamer, if you have your PS4 and your Switch, and I don't know if it's going to be on Xbox or not, if you run emulators, if you've already got all of these games, if this does not appeal to you, this system is not meant intentionally for you. That's one thing that I say every time we have this discussion. So I want to lead off with it right now. If your argument is, well, I have a Raspberry Pi, or well, I have the Genesis Collection on the PS4, or I have this, then it's not for you. Then just don't buy it. This system is for people who don't have access to these games very easily, maybe want to go out there and don't feel like buying back their entire childhood, but for $80, because I think it's going to be $80 in the US with 2 controllers, can go to the store and say, holy crap, I remember these games. So far, even for just that $80, I think we're getting a pretty amazing value. I think, assuming that we do actually get Sonic 3, which I still think is a given, Streets of Rage 3, Earthworm Jim 2, Shining, I think they said, yeah, was Shining Force? No, Shining Force 1 so far. I think we'll get Shining Force 2. Even just that, I think it's starting to be worth the $80. Again, same situation. Have they confirmed it? No, I don't want it to have a cartridge slot. That's one thing. We'll see how hackable it is. See, again, especially considering that there are 20 more games. And I don't think the 20 more games are going to be like Trampoline Terror. I think we're going to get high quality 20 more games. I think we're going to get the other Streets of Rage. I think we're going to get the other Shining Force, Sonic 3. I would love to have Sonic Spinball. I know that that game is like, some people seem to hate that game or love to hate it. I love that game. My one exclusion that I'm noticing is the Phantasy Star games. I'm not appreciating that there are no Phantasy Star games on there. I would like to see Phantasy Star 1, 2, and 3 on there. Even without being able to upgrade it, if those games are on there, that's a value at $80. You're talking about HDMI, 1080p output. Hopefully it's we're assuming that this all functions like the SNES Classic, which is a high resolution output, maybe a couple of filters if you really feel like doing that. HDMI output absolutely makes it easier, especially as a streamer, as a retro game streamer. It makes it significantly easier for me. So all of that's worth it. The upgradability will be fantastic, but will definitely be considered a bonus on top of all of this. What I'm looking at is the price worth it for what we have so far? And so far, I feel like, yes, the $80 is going to be justified with what's already on there. Hacking it is just going to be a bonus. I think they're going to leave it easily hackable. I think that that's a given, but who knows? The PlayStation was not easily hackable, and unfortunately, the PlayStation Mini would have succeeded well above what it's doing right now, which I think it's on sale for $30, maybe even less. If you were able to stick a USB drive on it and load games onto it, people would have gone nuts for it. Because they found out that it does have a 60 hertz mode, you just have to enable it. But even with that, I think people would have been fine if they could have put games onto it. Curious, why don't you want it to have a cartridge slot? I don't want it to have a cartridge slot because I don't want them to have to focus on the technology to do that. I don't want them to have to worry about emulating game cartridges and being able to run them. I would rather them worry about running ROMs off of the board and just give us the ability, whether inadvertently or advertently, to load more onto them. I don't want them to have to worry about that technology. The thing I'm liking about the Genesis Mini is that we're getting new games that weren't released on the compilations. Exactly. Wasn't the NBA game on the Genesis? NBA Jam was. NBA Jam makes sense. Don't put like NHL 94. Don't put that on there because they're dated. Even if you're not a sports fan, you know that they feel dated. But NBA Jam always felt fun. That's sort of like saying, oh, well, I only play modern football games. But NFL Blitz is friggin' awesome, even if you don't like football games. I never had an NES or SNES, so I got those systems as an end-all, be-all way to play every NES or SNES game I could ever want to play via hacking. I have a Genesis and lots of carts, a lot of carts of the games I want. But I'm still going to buy it anyway because HDMI, convenience, it'll be 99% hackable. Yeah, 99% hackable would be a big bonus. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Okay, I am having a problem, actually. There is one problem that I'm having. They keep saying the 3-button controller. Have they confirmed whether or not we're going to get the 6-button controller as a later addition? Because that's going to be a problem if we don't have that. Vectorman and Ristar should be on there too. Is it Ristar or Rystar? Ristar, I'm going to say Ristar for now. They should be on there too. Very much. Vectorman 1 and 2. I think that they should be on there. I think that they are great representations of the system. I'm trying to look, Kid Chameleon. Where's Kid Chameleon on that list? Kid Chameleon was a very well-known. Thanks for clearing that up, real edgy. I appreciate that you were able to spell it the proper way for me to pronounce it. Yeah, I definitely Rystar. Okay, so you say Rystar. Where's Rye when you need her? Yeah, I think that there are some. It's Hydrocity. It's Hydro City. I mean, nice that the Mini does have that functionality because it means if you do have Genesis games somewhere in the attic, you still be able to play those. Yeah, I don't like the fact that they would have to focus on the technology in there. That's going to be my biggest issue with that. Do something later. Provide some other way to do that. But I mean, obviously they were from a worse company, but we've seen the Genesis system that also plays Genesis games, and it was essentially emulating those games, and it didn't work well at all. And there will be 2 models, one with a single controller and one elements. I think in Japan, the single controller one is what they're selling for $60, and then they're selling the controller separate. But then I think in the US, you can only get the 2 controller version. But I don't think there's news about whether or not they'll ever release the 6-button controller. Genesis Mini will be released September 19th. Will cost $79.99. US version will pack 2 full-size 3-button controllers. Yeah, see, there's no word on whether or not they're going to release the 6-button controller later. But the US version is only going to be 2 controllers. I want to say the Japanese and UK versions, the Mega Drive, they're going to sell you 1 controller and an option to buy another one. What if they also added CD and 32X games? I would love the 30. I would love that, but I don't know. Again, I don't know if I'd want them to go through the trouble of putting that on there just for laughs and kicks. What I would like to see is that if you could get those games to work off of the same emulator that runs the Genesis games on there, could I potentially just load the ROMs onto there? Again, that's not a feature they can sell you, but it's a feature that could just happen to be put on there. Yeah, we get 2 3-button controllers too. I expect the CDX and I would love an add-on. Just what if they did it better? If they did it better, Neon. If they could promise that they could put cartridge support perfectly, I would absolutely take it. I would have taken it with the NES and SNES minis if there was some way to put cartridges in there. But they function just fine without it. That's my issue, is that they function just fine without it. So I don't need it. It's not something that I really. If you've got a stack of Genesis cartridges in your house, you most likely have a Genesis. If you've got a stack of Super Nintendo games, you've most likely got the system to play it. So this is more for laughs and kicks, basically, yeah. This is more for, that's why this is marketed towards people who have gotten out of the hobby, who don't have anything, and this is a very simple entry point back into at least part of their nostalgia. Of what do we found out? If we found out it's running on Fusion, I would be excited because Fusion is a great system. Whoops. Hold on. Why is it cycling through? Did it cycle through that automatically? I didn't actually hit that. I think I was typing stuff. Well, I know I was typing stuff, but I think it was triggering that. They did not confirm Sonic 3 or Knuckles or anything like that. Or did they confirm Sonic 3 CD and Knuckles? But no. They also didn't confirm Sonic 3D Blast. My Mega Drive burnt into flames. Got a secondhand. Previous owner apparently did something to the wires. Probably thought you had to do something to the wires in order to make it play import games. So the 6-button controller is Japan exclusive. The PS1 Classic kind of easily hackable. You can stick a thumb drive into the thing. Next time I have $30, I'm going to buy a PS1 Classic. And if I have $30 to spare, I'd be buying Cuphead. And hack not only a better emulator, but also the games. See, the problem is 3D Blast sucks anyway. Well, yeah, it definitely sucks. But I don't know. I feel like there's one or two. I don't know if I'd say stinkers on this system so far, but Altered Beast is very dated. Comic Zone was always sort of with me. I mean, that being said, those are opinions. You know, the other games that are on there are friggin' fantastic. They're basically offering high quality cocaine to recovering addicts, people. DB Stewart, exactly. And you know what? And I thank them for it. Oh boy. Alter Beast is very much an early art. Yeah, it's not a game that translates super well. The Sega give a release date September 19th. September 19th is the release date. I think that this is shaping up to be a great list, and I think that that's the most important thing to talk about with this list, because I have seen some people say, "Oh, well, they don't have this on there. Well, they don't have that on there." I think all of this needs to be bookended by the fact that this is only 20 of the 40 games, and like I don't think that the other games are gonna be trampoline terror. I don't think that they're going to be these plain white label games. I think they're going to be very decent, high quality games. I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm only getting this for the Sonic ROM hacks. Don't judge me. If you can install Sonic ROM hack, the SNES and NES classics, you can install ROM hacks. That's how we were playing our Link to the Past randomizers. Yeah, there's still 20 games left. 20 games left, and there is. I think you would be, the plain white labels were Master System games, but still, they were on Genesis though. That's why Trampoline Terror was a Genesis game. They might have been Master System games that were ported over to the Genesis, but technically they were Genesis games. Wait, you could put randomizer on the, Ryan, yeah, that's how we were playing them. When you do the NES, the Link to the Past randomizer, what happens is you go to the website. It's with an easy search you can find it. And what you do is you put in the information, you put the parameters for the randomizer that you want, and you basically click create. It will create an SNES Zelda 3 ROM that you then download. You put it on your SNES Classic and it plays just like that. It runs the save states. It does everything exactly the way it's supposed to. Yeah, that's how I played it. That's how I was. At first, I was playing them on the computer, but when I got the SNES Classic, I loaded them up to give it a try, and that's how I was playing them. There's a streamer that I used to watch. Squibbins was her name, and she regularly ran Link to the Past randomizer, and she loaded them to her EverDrive. Same exact thing. You just create the ROM, and then the ROM works like a ROM. I can't generate the randomizer within. No, you can't generate. You can't do it within the game itself, because once the ROM is created, it's created. But what you can do is you can set the parameters and then create the ROM. It'll have the sprite that you choose. It'll be a randomized version of the game, and then you can also create. There's a way to auto create a guide that will. It's like a little. It's like a little game facts guide, and it will tell you where the items are in case you get stuck, because it's very, very easy to feel like you are completely stuck in that game. Disney games are confirmed a quack shot or some of the. I mean, they already added 2 of the Disney games. I guess it's just a matter of what they think will be worth it, what they think will really sell on the system. I'm already looking at this list, and I'm seeing a 90% excellent batting average of choices. That's a sports reference. And on top of that, 40 games is the most we've seen on any of these consoles. Yeah, one for the same price tag. One for the same $80 price tag. The SNES Classic had 21 games and arguably had some missing. Yeah, there were a few exclusions on the SNES Classic that I wasn't happy about. They should put Aladdin, Lion King. Come on. And everybody's favorite Disney game, Warriors of the Eternal Sun. Although I wouldn't mind seeing that on there. I will if somehow. I wish Sean was here. If somehow D&D Warriors of the Eternal Sun is on the Genesis Mini, I will try and buy the Genesis Mini as soon as I can. That will be the first game I play on stream. Will be D&D Warriors of the Eternal Sun. I like how they said 1 game per franchise. Yeah, 1 game per franchise. In no way. No way. I think one game per franchise is a big disappointment. I think that would piss people off more than anything. Why would you only get parts of a bunch of different games? What's that bad Disney Genesis game Gilly talked about in his video? I do not know. I do not know. Bloodline slowly whispers to you in the wing. Zeroing? My favorite Disney game is Sonic 2. Actually, you know what my favorite Disney game is? X-Men on the Genesis. Oh my god. Yeah, one game per franchise. Yeah, Sonic and Streets of Rage already broke that. Yeah, of course they did. So yeah, I think that it's going to be awesome. I think that it's definitely going to be really great. That being said, I kind of want to transition into the next sort of transition into the next topic. I don't think I need. Do I need? Yeah, I guess I do. No, but this actually transitions into the next topic, which is the Castlevania Collection. Disney is some good old fashioned Roosevelt trust busting. Oh god, yeah. I mean, it's technically Disney now. This actually leads into the Castlevania Collection. Yeah, I bit my tongue there. The Castlevania Collection. We got the other 4 games for the Castlevania Collection, and I am a little bit not a little bit surprised. But god damn it! Oh, because I'm typing. That's what it is. The OBS doesn't realize I'm typing something else. So yeah, look, it's going all over the place. There we go. I had to cycle back. Is this a download or a plug and play? Because I'm hearing also the Castlevania thing. The Castlevania thing is a game that you're gonna buy. That's gonna be a game. It's gonna be on Switch, I think, PC and PS4. I think, right? Or is it just Switch? Oh, it might. No. No, yeah, I think it's PS4, Switch, and PC. I think. Castlevania now on Disney Plus. I can see Dracula doing the ears, or like, what is it like? I don't know. So yeah, so the rest of the Castlevania list came out. Originally we had Castlevania 1, Castlevania 3, Castlevania 4. And Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge, which was the Game Boy game. It's a download. Oh, unless there's a physical. Oh, it is just download only. The plug and play confusion is because both this and the Mega Drive Mini are going to have Bloodlines on it. Yeah. So the other 4 games that we got are Bloodlines, which is the Genesis game again. Castlevania 2, the actual Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, which was the NES game. Castlevania The Adventure, which was the first Game Boy game, which some people are kind of about. Hi, I'm Dracula from the Dracula series, and you're watching Disney Channel. Have at you. And the last inclusion, which the last time we talked about, I actually really, really was excited and hoping it was there, is Kid Dracula. We're actually getting Kid Dracula. What the hell is it called? Amokadro Dracula. I don't know, something. We're actually sarcasm. Yeah, we're actually getting Kid Dracula, which I'm really ridiculously excited about. I'm hearing some speculation because people are saying Kid Dracula on the Game Boy was better. I'm having trouble accepting that the Game Boy game was going to be better than the Famicom game, so I don't actually know why people say that it was better. Isn't Kid Dracula technically the second game? No, what do you mean in the series of Castlevania games? I don't think so. Or is the Famicom one the second Kid Dracula? Yeah, see, I don't know. It's funny because I actually went to buy Kid Dracula a few months ago at was it at Too Many Games? I think it was at Too Many Games. No. It was at that event in December. Where Too Many Gifts for Gamers is what it's called. I saw it and I didn't buy it, and then I went back later and the guy had already sold it. Okay. I just got a message on my phone that it's time to plan my Earth Day adventure. yeah, so I was bummed out, and if I'm gonna be completely honest and forthcoming with you, I did search for the ROM so that I could try and play it. I can't even find the ROM. The Game Boy game is a remake and a sequel to the Famicom game. Okay, yeah, but I can't even play the game. So this is exciting. I will actually be able to have a way to play the game. As for the entire lineup, I think the entire lineup is very interesting. I do find the Game Boy game inclusions to be odd. Not awful, because Belmont's Revenge was actually a fantastic game. But it is a little bit odd to me that they're on there. It's a little bit odd to me that they're on there and Dracula X from the US SNES is not on there. Yes, Rondo isn't on there, but Rondo structurally felt like a completely different game from the Dracula X game. The Dracula X game was extremely linear. I'm a little surprised that that's not on there. I'm not surprised that Castlevania Legends is not on there. I know that they have said that as far as story continuity, that's either not part of it or it wasn't and now it is. But I'm not too surprised that that's not on there. I wish it was so that the game would come down in price or that I could at least have a way to play it, but it's not. So it's not. I'm also seeing, and somebody said it here, I think it was DB Stewart I saw was the last person that said it. As far as the Rebirth game coming out, I don't want the Rebirth game to come out on this collection. I didn't want the Rebirth game to come out at any other point. What I want is a Rebirth collection. I want a Rebirth collection that has Contra, Gradius, Castlevania, Blaster Master, and there was another one. I forget what the other one was. I want a collection of those specifically. I don't want the games to be pieced out here and there. I don't want a Gradius collection and then a Gradius Rebirth and then the Castlevania collection with Castlevania Rebirth. I want one collection with all the Rebirth games on it. There was also Vampire Killer for the MSX2. It's basically another version of Mania 1. So does this collection plus Requiem make it every classic Vania up except Dracula X up to Symphony of the Night? Not every version. It does not include Castlevania Legends. It does cover most of the significant stuff. But I think it's ultimately a pretty decent collection. I don't know where I saw it, but apparently they have said that this does not rule out the possibility of more collections. I would like to see a redone collection because I'm still holding out for a remastered version of the Saturn game, of Saturn Symphony of the Night, or Nocturne in the Moonlight, I think it was called. It's Symphony of the Night. With all of the extra Saturn stuff. I would like to see that. And so I'm still holding out for hope for that. I would like to see the 3 Game Boy Advance games come to a collection like this. What is that? Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, and Aria of Sorrow. We talked the other day about the Switch being a perfect system since you can turn it vertically for DS ports. So I would like to see the 3 DS games come out. That was Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia, which is an amazing game. If you get a chance to play that game, play that game. Yeah, Dracula X is a dumbed down port of Rondo anyway. But since Dracula X doesn't exist anywhere on another collection, and since Rondo was already on a different collection, I figured why put the Game Boy game? Why not just throw in Dracula X? Maybe on the Saturn Mini. Why do they not acknowledge that the Saturn version exists? Nobody seems to acknowledge that the Saturn version exists. What about Chronicles and Haunted Castle? Chronicles, I have Castlevania Chronicles. I think is Chronicles. I don't remember if it has Haunted Castle on it. Chronicles is the Sharp 68,000 game, which I believe is also a sort of considered a remix of the first game. Yeah, Haunted Castle is on the arcade collection thing. That's right. Haunted Castle is somewhere else. Dracula X is on the Wii U Virtual Console, at least. It's Konami. Don't expect. You know what, Wing Zero? I would have agreed with you before I saw this Castlevania collection and even that Konami arcade collection, which I don't think is anywhere near as good as this, but it does prove that they're putting some effort. Agent 501, thank you so much. In the hunt with a sub, converted from a Twitch Prime sub to tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. Very, very awesome. Unbelievable. Let's see. There we go. Yay! Dope. Do I gotta have a funny other sound effect, right?
Monster combo.
Yeah, there we go. That's the combo for switching from Twitch Prime to a regular sub. Fantastic, though. I very, very much appreciate that. Wild idea. Saturn Mini has Symphony of the Night on it, and soon after release Castlevania Collection 2, which also has Saturn Symphony of the Night on it. Very much, very appreciate that. I would love that. Convert to tier 1 on my birthday too. Happy birthday! Do I don't have anything for here we go.
Chillax, my dude.
There we go. Happy birthday. It's all I got. So yeah, I think that this collection is actually pretty awesome the way it is. I will admit that being such older games, it might not be for everybody. I mean, the newest thing on this collection is Castlevania 4. So I will admit that right off the bat, this might not be for everybody. Considering that it's only 8 games. See, the Genesis collection, for instance, is going to have 40 games on it. Real Edgy also converted from Twitch Prime sub. Did that? Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, I'm seeing that though. Oh, I guess did I read the message too fast and I didn't get an alert or something? Yeah, it says Real Edgy converted from Twitch Prime sub to a tier 1 sub. Thank you very, very much for that. I absolutely appreciate that. Yeah, I think Twitch borked out. I can't really trigger. I wish I could trigger the alerts myself. Here, I'll give you a
Ultra combo.
Oh wait. Boom. Well, everyone say happy birthday. How many said happy Christmas? I like that. I like that logic. I appreciate the uniqueness. But yeah, even if the Genesis collection is not for you, as far as Genesis games go, as far as it being older games, the sheer volume of games is great. This Castlevania collection, if the older games are not for you, the fact that it's only 8 games might be a little off-putting. So it is a matter of what the price is going to be, whether or not there'll be a physical version, whether or not that even matters to you. Of course, if you've got the Xbox One SAD, you don't need a physical version anyway. But how lovely, tears fall out of my eyes. Oh, Bloodlines came out after Castlevania 4, so that would be the most recent one. Okay, so then yeah, so Bloodlines would be the most recent game. So if you're not completely sold on that era of gaming, the fact that there's only 8 games is not going to help the situation. So that's really good. You know, yeah, I'm not going to pay $40, but yeah, I don't think I would pay $40 for these games. Like I said, these kinds of collections might not be for me since I have most of the games already that are on it, but the price it's still a consideration that I would look into, but the price is still, that's going to damage my ability to get into this. Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 just came out on the Switch. They're $50. I will not pay $50 for those 2 games. I'm assuming it's going to be $20 digital only. Yeah, I don't know if it actually said. Recruit Apollo just joined. What collection are we discussing? We were wrapping up our talk about the Castlevania collection. Minion, I would say at most $30. I would hope that it's just 20. 20 would be very much appreciated. Yeah, I think X and X2 on the Switch was $50. That doesn't interest me at all. You completely lost me on that. Yes, they are newer, but come on. They are also old games. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. Because I need to. Okay. Because of course I'm not ever ready for this stuff. Let's go to our old pals Kotaku for the information on this thing. For $50, fix the collection. No deal. Maybe next time. All right. For no, don't I have where my Twitch code? No, where in the world is my stuff? There we go. Here we go. Switching gears. The Capcom arcade machine, which is not actually switching gears that much since we were just talking about the Konami or the Castlevania Collection and the Genesis Collection. We have another collection of games. Yet another amazing-ish collection of games. Hey, overpriced plastic. Hey, awkwardly shaped plastic. How about that? Capcom, in their Capcominess, oh my god. Are we gonna call them Capcomies from now on? Can we please call them that? Can we do that? Oh my god. Drop the mic with a collection of all Castlevania 2 games from NES to PS2. Wing Zero. Oh my god. Capcom, the Capcomies have released information about their new arcade sort of home plug and play system, all their own. What you're looking at here, this glory right here, is the system. It is shaped like the Capcom logo. The sticks are way too close together. It's hard to see from this picture. These are... I'm moving my mouse like you can see that. Capcommunism. Next to the two arcade sticks, which you can see there, between the C and right next to the O, are the buttons. So everything is clear so that you can see this Capcom logo that's put over everything. That's the system. It's going to plug right into your TV, and it's going to be a complete reminder every day that you look at it of who makes it. No, ew, stop. And it's going to have, I think at this point, just these 16 games. I don't think that this is an incomplete list. I'm pretty sure that this is the whole game, the whole list. 1944, The Loop Master. There are better 1900 series games. Alien vs. Predator. I'm pretty sure marks the first time Alien vs. Predator has ever come to a home console. Extremely excited about that. Armored Warriors, Capcom Sports Club. Well, the thing about Capcom Sports Club is they are usually off-the-wall type sports games, so it's a little more fun. Captain Commando, Cyberbots, which is a very nice inclusion. Darkstalkers 1. Echo Fighters or Eco Fighters. Final Fight. Ghouls and Ghosts. Gigawing. Mega Man The Power Battle. Pro Gear, which I'm not familiar with at all. Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting. Strider. And Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. It's not a horrible list. There are some good games on there. There are some weird games on there. Pro Gear is a steampunk Metal Slug type game. Okay. It's way too expensive for what you get. Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that. It's not an awful list. There are a lot of very unfortunate exclusions on there. A couple of odd inclusions on there. Let's talk right off the bat about the first biggest problem, and Ryan already mentioned it. It is going to be about $250 US. That is outrageous. Let's be honest, that price tag is for the control setup. That's what it's for. You're paying for the hardware. That's the real price of it. I heard 200. I heard 100. I heard 199 pounds. I heard 200 pounds, which I think translates to about 250, 260. Yeah, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. Um, right off the bat, you lost me on the price. You're paying for the hardware. I forget who it was that I saw that was arguing that arcade sticks generally cost a lot of money, so you're getting two of them, but you're not getting two of them. You're getting one double arcade stick. So as an individual, yes, I could go out and pay $100 and $200 for an arcade stick. That arcade stick can be used on multiple games because we don't know if this arcade stick can be used on other things or if it can only be used to play these 16 games. If you can use it for that, you have to take this gigantic beast with you. It is not an arcade stick. It is two arcade sticks glued together. If you could take the cap and the com apart, that would be awesome. I think you sell it to more people faster if the first thing you do is you split it down the middle and you sell them the cap and the com as two separate arcade sticks. I don't care about arcade sticks. I don't like them. I'm a heavy-handed person, so when I use arcade sticks, this is what it looks like. I move the joystick and the whole thing moves. I'm a heavy-handed person. It's just the way it is. The Neo Geo arcade sticks were the worst arcade sticks ever because they were the lightest, most cheapy plastic feeling things. I hated them. $250 Alien vs. Predator machine. Let's go. Yeah, and that's another thing. And Ryan, you're right. Buying arcade sticks, even if you wanted to justify the price by saying, oh, you're getting arcade sticks, not everybody even cares about arcade sticks. Only the really hardcore players care about arcade sticks. And you know what our hardcore players don't care about? Plug and play $250 systems that have an old version of Street Fighter on them. Because the other biggest issue with this to me is the game selection. I want to go through this slowly. First of all, for $250, you're giving me 16 retro games. That's BS. We're gonna get that right off the top and say that that's ridiculous. That it's only 16 games. If you put 60 games on here, you could have tried to justify that price tag a little bit more. You would have been much more justifiable if you told me that instead of 1944, I'm getting 1942, 1943, 1944, Striker 1945, 19XX. And I think there were a couple more that I'm missing. Striker 1945 was very, very awesome, and 19XX was incredible. You'd already be doing better if you told me that. Alien vs. Predator, Armored Wars, Capcom Sports Club, Captain Commandos, Cyberbots. This is probably a licensing issue. Where are Coda? Where's Children of the Atom? Where's Marvel Superheroes? Where's Marvel X-Men vs. Street Fighter? Where are those games? Again, they're most likely licensing issues, but the fact of the matter is that it would have been significantly better if you put those games on there. Darkstalkers. How are you going to put Darkstalkers and not Darkstalkers 2 and 3? Why would you put the first one? You would put the third one if you were only going to put one before you would put the third one. I don't understand that. I thought it was supposed to be $70. No, DB Stewart. This baby is $250. Eco Fighters. Final Fight. Okay, Final Fight's an interesting issue because my understanding is that Final Fight 2 and 3 were only Super Nintendo games. It would have been nice if they included them anyway because they were high quality Super Nintendo games. But I do like Final Fight 1. Ghouls and Ghosts, okay. Giga Wing, I could have sworn there were 2 Giga Wing games. Where's the second one? Mega Man Power Battle, okay. Pro Gear, like I said, I'm not too familiar with. Somebody said it was like a steampunky game, so I don't mind that. We're going to skip over the worst one. We're going to go to Strider, which is, that's okay. Puzzle Fighter 2, I think, is a great inclusion. I think Puzzle Fighter 2 is a fantastic inclusion. Why Pocket Fighters isn't there, I don't know. But Puzzle Fighter 2 was a great game. It was an interesting game all on its own. Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting is probably, to me, one of the dumbest inclusions. First off, why isn't it Super Street Fighter? Actually, I'm sorry. First off, why wouldn't you just have every version of Street Fighter on there so people can pick and choose? But whatever. Why wouldn't it be Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting? Fantastic version. Where are the Street Fighter 3 games? You're telling me you have this and you couldn't put First Try, Double Impact, and Third Strike on there? where's Street Fighter 4? Where's the alpha games? You put Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting for $250? Oh, Pro Gear is a bullet hell. Okay. So another shooter. So I'm okay with that. I like how the Genesis Collection lets you choose between US and Japanese editions of most games. Street Fighter. Yeah, bruh, I call Street Fighter 3... I call plain old Street Fighter 3, I call it first try. Because then there was second impact and then third strike. So the first one I feel needs its own game. Because normally when you say Street Fighter 3, I think most people automatically think third strike. Because it is the most comprehensive version of that game. But I always call the plain old Street Fighter 3, I just call it first try. But again, if you're going to put a Street Fighter 3 and you're only going to put one of them, you would put third strike. But they're not even putting them at all. Darkstalkers, they're only putting one. They're putting the first one, which is arguably the worst one. You know, it just seems like there's a lot of exclusions here that make as much... They make as much sense as some of the inclusions. That's why we have two. Why do we have 3 Street Fighter 3s? But then again, we have like 7,000 versions of Street Fighter 2. The extra versions of Street Fighter 3, each one added extra stuff. Legitimately added extra stuff. I don't argue the point of why we have Street Fighter 2 and Super Street Fighter 2. There were new challengers. The whole game system had a combo system that was added, or a combo scoring system. There were enough dramatic differences. Truth be told, there were enough differences that it probably could have been justified as 3, but it justified it that there was another version of Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 3, each one added at least more characters. So many sexy people in here and the chat and on the screen. Because you're here, that's why. Because you count as sexy people. So that's how it works. Hyper Fighting is a faster version of Street Fighter 2 from what I remember. Yeah, if you're going to put the classic Street Fighter, then Hyper Fighting is the proper representation. But there was also Super Street Fighter 2. There were also Alpha. There was also the Street Fighter 3 stuff. Like, I just don't understand why some of this stuff is missing on a $250 system. These versions were because you couldn't just update it like you could before. So it was a necessary evil. Yeah, definitely. Bringing back a point that we talked about earlier with the Genesis Classic. Part of the value after this gets released is going to be determined by whether or not you can add more games to this. I would never, if I had the disposable income to buy this, I would never buy this for $250. But if you tell me, oh, by the way, you can load 500 arcade games onto it and you'd have an arcade stick, you're gonna kind of you're getting closer to selling me on the whole issue. I do have one more issue. I have one more issue with this system, and this is gonna be something that arcade players will understand a lot more. I have a significant issue. I'm talking to you with your entire build. First of all, that does not look comfortable to set your hands on when you're playing games. Rarely do people play arcade games like this. You rest your hand on the console, and you hit everything. That's a common way to play arcade games. That's going to hurt your hands if you try and do that, assuming that there's even enough space to fit your hands on there. It is not a comfortable looking setup. I am not as much a fan of the ball as I am of the bat on the sticks. What I mean is, if you see the arcade sticks, they have a ball on the end of it. I don't like the ball as much as I like the bat. Hopefully that unscrews just like arcade hardware, and I can go to Micro Center and buy some arcade hardware and replace that. But for $250, I shouldn't have to replace it. It should come with 2 balls and 2 bats, and I should be able to choose which one I get on there. The buttons, you can't see it from that picture, but the buttons are the outward curving buttons. So if you were to look at the button straight on, it's like this. I don't like that. I like the what's it called? Concave, where it goes in. I prefer that for the buttons. I like the tactile feeling of that. Again, that is a personal choice. Arcade players will know which one of those two they like. But the curved inward buttons feel concave is where it goes in. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like the concave buttons. I like the way they feel. I like when my fingers rest on the buttons, especially when you're talking about a shooter. I like the feeling of being able to rest and then hit the buttons faster. I don't like the convex buttons. Again, if it uses original style arcade hardware, that's something you can change out. But for $250, I should not have to change that out. There should be a box inside the box with concave and convex buttons, and I get to choose which ones. Truth be told, turning this into a kit, I feel like would make it more enjoyable. I feel like people would like the idea of buying it and having this extra stuff and saying, oh, I get to kind of build it and do it my own way. Right off the bat, I'd take a saw to the middle and turn it into two separate sticks. But I would like that if it was a more Capcom Labo setup. Comfort has been compromised on the Bloody Day selection of games and the price. Yeah, what's good about the thing? What's good about the thing will be when it comes out and we determine whether or not we can add games to it. Because if I can add the Marvel games to it, if I can add the Three Wonders arcade game, I think I would be a lot happier with it. If I could add, what are some of the other Capcom shooters? I know Giga Wing and Giga Wing 2. I don't think Mars Matrix was them. I could have sworn they had another series of shooters. Oh, didn't they do? No, they didn't do those. Gunbird. Wasn't Gunbird Capcom? Or is the coloring just similar? It's at least nice for the... Yeah, Agent Fox, it is. But $250 is a lot of novelty. That's a lot of money for novelty. Oh my God, screw Capcom. Add SNK Sega game. Oh my God, yeah. Just add it all on there. Add a whole bunch of arcade games on there. If you tell me that I can do that easily, you're getting closer to the value there. Again, still kind of if rumor is true and it runs off Fightcade, you'll have tons of games. If it runs off Fightcade, holy smokes, that'll be fine. Yeah, someone somewhere will add it. Wait, the issue is if it's not too easy. If adding games to it becomes, oh, well, you have to take it apart and you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to solder this on there and everything, you would be easier finding a separate solution and just buying an arcade stick. Solo Chogokin. Yeah, for $250, get a super gun. So yeah, it looks cute. The one last note that I will say about it is that it does look cute. We have moved away from this era of making these fun sort of delightful systems. I love that it's bright white with the yellow and blue. You know, the color scheme. It's fun to look at. Because yes, like you said, Agent Fox, it's a novelty. It is very fun to look at. I get a kick out of seeing it. It's just the price and everything is just too outrageous for it. But I do like that it exists looking the way it does, and it reminds me of those days where we got that stuff. Oh yeah, or a medium popcorn with some Reese's at a movie theater. Hope you brought some recruit. Hope you brought your credit card so you can also get something to drink with that. For $250, I can get 2 drinks at Starbucks. 2 smalls. Yeah, so it's also Wi-Fi enabled, so there might be an online component. There better be an online component. There better be an online component to that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, it looks cute and it looks cool, but it's just, the price is the only thing killing it. Well, no, and the form factor and the selection of games. Yeah, it's just everything's killing it. Okay. Gonna switch now. We're definitely switching gears because this next topic is completely different. Disney Plus. Looks like something you put on your shelf. Yeah. Actually, the smallest drink at Starbucks is called a large. Regarding even more streaming fragmentation, yar fiddle dee. Disney has announced that their streaming service is going to be called Disney Plus, and it's going to have a bunch of stuff on it. Okay, next topic. So they finally announced it. They finally announced the price point. They finally announced the release. I think it's supposed to be November 12th. They announced a lot of the stuff that's going to be on there. I am not a fan of Disney's whole conglomerate style trust that they're building. Yeah, Disney needs the old trust busters. I am not a fan of the conglomerate that they are putting together. Because it almost feels, and we make this joke. People have made this joke a million times over, but it almost feels like they operate out of a dark room in a 30-level underground bunker. You know what I mean? In a room surrounded by lights not unlike these, sitting around going, people, what is our next acquisition? Like, that's how it feels. You're watching Monopoly Plus. That's how it feels. That being said, this is looking like a pretty cool service. I want to hate this. I really do. I really want to not like what they're doing here. But the problem is that they're putting together a relatively decent service. You're going to have a place with all the Star Wars stuff. The movies. Yeah, no way it stays this price. Yeah, the movies, the shows, which I could finally sit down and watch all of Rebels. New shows. Apparently they're doing some new shows, including The Mandalorian, which is going to follow The Mandalorian after Return of the Jedi. It's going to be sometime after Return of the Jedi. It's not going to be Boba Fett, but it's going to be a Mandalorian. It's going to be in the world of Star Wars, but not with Jedi. This is what I've been waiting for. There was a show a few years ago that got canceled. Somebody can tell me, was it called Star Wars 1313? I think it was supposed to be like a procedural crime show, but it was existing in the Star Wars universe. It was not going to have anything to do with Jedi or the Empire and Rebellion. It was just going to exist in the Star Wars world. I was ridiculously excited for it, and nope. Got canceled like so many other Star Wars projects. No, Greg, that's how they hook you. Was 13 supposed to be a video game? 1313. Yeah, I could have sworn it was supposed to be a show. But I've been into that concept for a while. The idea of Star Wars outside of Star Wars. That's one of the reasons I liked Rogue One. Sort of was part of in all of that. Well, was in all of that. Solo. I liked Solo. I did not think the Solo was a bad movie. I liked that it existed outside of the Jedi and all of that stuff. It was important to me that stuff exists. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was a show. I could have sworn they had a show that was canceled at some point. But yeah, I like that stuff's going to be on there. Obviously, it's Disney, so we're going to have a dumping ground for the Marvel stuff. Maybe we'll get all of the Marvel movies finally. Maybe I can finally watch Thor 2. Even though everybody said I'm not missing anything, but I still want to see the damn thing. Maybe I can go. Maybe they'll lower the prices, and now I can go and buy them on Blu-ray and not still have to spend $30 for the Winter Soldier, or the first one, the first Captain America movie. I went to Best Buy the other day. It's still $25. It's an old movie, ish. Disney movies, obviously, probably some old Disney channels. Sadly, it's Disney, so it makes easy money by nature of parents. Yeah, parents getting it for. See that, Ryan? That's the thing. That was my first thought. Was like, oh well, it's gonna be all the Disney shows, and it's definitely gonna be all the Disney shows. But you got Marvel stuff, you got Star Wars stuff, you got new stuff. They're talking about The Simpsons being on there, which is would be a huge boost. Lord, was that Lloyd Inkmoon? Are they making anime retellings of the Star Wars scene? I don't know if they're remaking anime retellings of the Star Wars scenes, but you bring up a good point. Disney did distribute some anime movies, so those anime movies might be on there. So we might have a place to watch Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away. I was gonna say Spirits Within. That's Final Fantasy. So that might be on there. They don't have the Ghibli license. Okay, I know that they distributed some movies and they recast like voices for the English versions or something. I have a couple of them, and I think they're Disney distributions. But it would be interesting for them to put that on there. They distributed some of the movies, but they still don't. They don't have the license anymore. Okay, so they did have it at some point. I'm on board with this for the content that it has. One of the big inclusions that I did not know of, I was not aware of. I guess they are the parent company, or at some point they bought them, which I kind of assumed that's going to be what happened. At some point they acquired National Geographic. National Geographic documentaries are going to be on there. That kind of sells me, man. That kind of puts me on board. Now back to Akira on Disney. Crunchyroll got rid of Angel Beats, so I tend to not use streaming services very often. Yeah, it's a question of how long this stuff is going to stay on there. That's always a big issue. We've talked about that before, where that's an issue of digital media versus physical media. Fox owned Nat Geo, so they got that with the purchase. That's a big grab for me. The fact that they have that is a big grab for me. What I'm hearing is $6.99 is what I'm hearing as their pricing structure. Real Edgy, that's a good question. Will there be different prices for better resolutions? I don't know if $6.99 is the entry price or the only price. Because they advertise Hulu, I think, at $7.99, but you have to pay $11.99 if you want to get everything streamed in HD. So there's a question of what it's going to be, what the price is going to be. Based on what you want, that might $6.99 a month is not a bad price at all. Especially if you have little kids, because you know all of those Disney shows are going to be on there. Sophia the First, and what was the one that we said? Is Sweet Life and Drake and Josh was Nickelodeon and Sweet Life was Disney. I forget exactly which one it was. $6.99 a month. Yeah, I heard $6.99 a month. That was what I had heard. Sweet Life of Zork and Cody. I would rather have Sweet Life of Zorg and Cody. Yeah, I forget which one of those was Disney and one of those was Nickelodeon. It's really not a bad price. It's not a bad set. Hey, I don't like. Hey,
Ooh, you suck.
Sweet Fantasy of Zack and Cloud. I like it. Sweet Life of Zerg and Cody. Yeah. Also, it is $6.99 a month. Yeah. I think that's not a bad setup for the Star Wars movies, for the Marvel movies, for a lot of these other shows, the original shows, the live action Disney. If you really care about those movies, a great show. Because obviously you're gonna get a chunk of the ABC stuff. You're gonna get the ABC, the stuff that was Freeform. You're gonna get some of that stuff. They don't have the license to Harry Potter anymore, so you're not gonna get those. But you're going to get some of their shows, which is sort of, up and down depending on whether or not you like them. But, what the hell was that show? Once Upon a Time. For anybody that watched Once Upon a Time, I love that show. I thought the show was fantastic. I fell off of it late into it, but was Science of Stupid on National Geographic? Oh, I don't know. Angel Beats is one of my favorite animes of all. Angel Beats was phenomenal. Bring your paper towels. I was gonna say bring your tissues, but that sounds gross. Bring your tissues if you really want to. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. Of course it falls under all the same problems, which is where are they going to be cycling stuff on and off of it? Because you don't want to sign up for it and then they lose some. I mean, all of these licenses are theirs, so they should be able to keep all of this stuff on there indefinitely. And there's only going to be so many times you're going to want to watch Star Wars. I don't know that I've reached that limit, but sure. I took all the scenes from Star Wars Galaxy of Adventures. Okay. Whether or not the Mighty Ducks. Yeah, they have a lot of live action movies that were tied to them that, people are going to love, man. I just think it's a good service for I think it's a good price for the service at $6.99. Yeah, I don't know that $6.99 is going to be the HD price. I don't know that it's going to stay $6.99. But, I mean, it's already shaping up to be a better service than Nintendo Online. Am I right? I don't have a... Yeah, and that's probably Angel Beats. Angel Beats is expensive. Angel Beats is expensive. I know the Tenchi shows were expensive. I went looking for those one day. There's certain shows that it's just no. Yeah, no chance to stay $7 for too long. That's a kill Netflix fast and then jack up the price. Let's get Star Wars Galaxy of Fear TV series. Alrighty, what do we got? That was that. I shouldn't have taken it off that page. Viewer topics. If there are, sorry to feel like I'm abruptly transitioning, but Disney, it is what it is. Viewer topics. If you have any topics, if you have anything that you want to bring up, if you have any questions that you want to ask, this is definitely the chance to do it. I know there were a few things that happened recently that I feel like people are going to want to discuss. Two of them in particular, I almost made topics for the show, but Joker and Smash. Joker and Smash is what a shadow drop that was. That was a hell of a drop. This past Tuesday, they suddenly had this whole thing about okay, so here's what happened. I was gonna have a topic for the show today about was it Tuesday? I think they dropped all this PS5 information, which I didn't want to get into because I wanted to look over it a little bit more extensively. It looks okay so far. And then they dropped this Xbox One SAD information, which is the Xbox One S all digital. They ran a great little like a teaser for it or trailer for it, where they're trying to come up with an idea and they put a sticker over the drive, and like, oh, that's all you did. Like, oh, do it again. And they were so amazed by it, which apparently it's all they did because the system. Someone said that at least the circuitry inside, I think it was Spawn Waves that did something about it, or I think I saw him mention it. Apparently, the eject button is still in there. Like all of the hardware is still in there. It literally is just a different case without a drive slot on it and without the drive in it, which is fine. That works. That's kind of what everybody was expecting. So then Nintendo decided, we're gonna drop something too. They dropped like a 17-minute trailer or 15-minute trailer about Joker in Smash. It was going to be his moves. It's going to be everything. It was going to be all of the updates that were coming up for that version, and it was available in 2 days. So yeah, we got this weird sort of shadow drop with Joker. It's very interesting. I didn't get it. I actually don't have the pass for the DLC. I didn't buy Joker yet. I don't have all the stages and stuff. So I didn't get to hear the not controversial song. But yeah, I want to use them. I want to check them out. I'll probably end up checking them out this weekend. I've got some plans to go somewhere. So then they will have the setup there. So hopefully we can try it out. So it was interesting. It was fun. Like you said, it was your peak console wars. It was such a funny day to have them like, oh yeah, well we've got this news. Oh yeah, well we've got this news. I was hoping that somebody would come out of the woodwork and like, oh yeah, well here's the picture of the Intellivision Classic. Let's see. Stupidly expensive Blu-rays and DVDs. Yeah, let's talk about that. They shouldn't be that expensive. Who's your favorite character from Sesame Street? I kind of like the Swedish Chef. I'm a fan of the chef. Animals are a little too uncontrollable for me. I don't like. He makes me anxious, and I don't like that very much. I do like the Swedish Chef. I like Snuffleupagus. Snuffleupagus. Is it with a P? But I like him. Joker Smash also killed Nintendo online for a good while. What? Oh yeah, how the servers went down. Yeah, so the whole Joker thing like annihilated Nintendo servers. That was kind of funny. It's more not funny, haha, but funny. Are you really getting bent out of shape because you can't have the character right this second? Give it an hour. Snuffleupagus. Snufflepop. With Doc McStuffins. It's going to ultimately be a problem and end up being like when Kingdom Hearts was on several different systems. You'll have Disney thing, keep current. Oh, okay. Does this mean we'll get more game modes in later Big Smash updates? I hope so, because I would like to have Smash Run back. I like Bert. Cookie Monster is best for me. Yeah, Cookie Monster I like, but I like cookies. So if I have Cookie Monster around, I can't have my cookies. You want stupidly expensive Blu-rays? Just look at anime Blu-ray sets. Boy, man, they are getting people. That's mostly just Aniplex. Well, yeah, because I have Blu-ray movies. I think my biggest issue is that they're still doing the thing that they used to do, where an anime series comes out and you get half of Volume 1. I don't like that. That being said, you're right. That is not everybody, because I bought full collection of Devil is a Part-Timer. They had full collection. I know it's not technically anime, but Legend of Korra and Avatar, they have full DVD sets of those. And I have seen full DVD sets for other shows. I do like that. Yeah, they give full season sets. I would rather have full series sets. I'd rather have everything. Gundam Movie Trilogy Blu-ray for $70. I'm finally home. I can keep current with the chat. Oscar just lives in a trash can. Who doesn't love Oscar? Looks like a giant nug of weed. I've heard. I've seen that joke before, and it's like, God, he really kind of does. Imagine creator. Oh yeah, the Smash Brothers stage creator is I'm seeing a lot of great stuff coming out of the Smash creation. I kind of forget that I do have that feature, so I forget to look at it, because what I didn't get was the fighter pass. So I didn't get the fighter pass, so I don't have the fighter. I don't have the extra character, but I have the extra game modes. So I keep forgetting that I have Stage Builder. The stage creator is getting overrun by dicks. Okay, Ryan, the stage creator is getting overrun by dicks. You mean douchey people? Or do you mean there are actual dicks on the stage? Because I'm pretty sure both of those are a yes, but I'm wondering which one is the bigger problem. Both. I paid $70 for Japan Blu-ray, a Batman Ninja, and I'm okay with that. The DVD menu is the best stage. Yes and no. Actually, Ryan, I gotta disagree with you, because I saw the new best stage. I actually posted it on Twitter. Someone created a stage where you can pet the dog. That is a pretty fantastic stage. So who drew male genitalia in the Stage Builder? Real edgy. If I feel like more hands would go up than you'd be comfortable with if you asked that question somewhere. I was trying to ask this earlier, but we know that Disney is pulling their stuff from Netflix. But are they doing that for Hulu as well? I would imagine they're going to pull as much as they possibly can, as fast as they can, especially once that service comes out. They added the stage. It's great. You can pet the dog and smash. You have to go and hit the switch, and they've created a multi-layer stage that has a hand on it. And then when you hit the switch, the hand goes like this, and then in the background there's a big dog. I saw this on Twitter. Nintendo's trying to get rid of the dick stages. That means someone was paid to make dick detecting code. Oh man. They have a majority stake in Hulu now, so probably not. Oh, okay. Well, you know what, though, Matt? they're gonna want to draw people over to their service. So I feel like they might pick and choose. I feel like you'll get like Treasure Planet and Hunchback on Hulu, but you'll need to go to Disney if you want to watch The Little Mermaid and Aladdin. I feel like they would do, because Netflix for a while had some of the second tier Disney movies, but they didn't have the high end stuff. Don't they? Well, Hulu is a dumping ground for other things. I think Hulu's owned by different. Well, technically, no. Yeah, I think they do have a majority stock in Hulu now. I mean, so I guess they can do that with that, whatever they want. I wonder how they're going to do that. They probably just have somebody going through and removing as many dick stages as they can, which is a fantastic sentence for me to have to say. I really like that I had to say that sentence. Quasimodo ain't second tier. Look the second tier Disney fans are all coming out of the woodwork right now. All the Disney second tier movies like Emperor's New Groove. You know, the non-quality stuff.
Wow, the land of make-believe.
Are those rocks by the sides of it? Yeah. Yeah, I want to try the stage creator because maybe it'll make me play more Smash Brothers, because I don't know. I'm off of Smash Brothers. Just like, I don't like the online mode. I don't like the way the online mode is structured. Better take that back. Look, look here, they're coming for me. They're coming for me like I wrote a bad Kotaku article. But since Ryan brought it up and not me, so about the lyric article then. So if anybody didn't hear, then you've been offline for a few days. There was a Kotaku article that was posted about a song from Persona 5 that was in Smash Brothers, or that is in Smash Brothers. I think it's Wake Up, Get Up, Get Out There. Wake up, get out there. That has a line in it that was misinterpreted as the R word. I'm not going to bother saying it here just in case it offends somebody. A very, 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 very simple search of the lyrics for that song proved that it is a misheard lyric and that the word is actually something else entirely. It takes 4 seconds to go online, do a search for the song, and find out the word, and find out what the real word is. Yet this article got out there with it in all its clickbaity glory. There's an offensive slur put into the term, into the song. So they want it pulled, and they wanted all of this. Okay. Yeah, the lyric was retorted. That's it. Retort it. You can work out the word they said, yeah. Which I think I just worked it out for you. Everybody makes mistakes. You make mistakes. You probably misheard the lyric. Maybe you're somebody who misheard that lyric the first time and said, did he just say that? So you go back and you listen to it and you think, he might have just said that. So you look up the lyrics and you say, okay, no, I see what it's supposed to say now. Now when you hear it, you hear what it's actually saying, because you know what it's actually saying. You've got it in your mind that's what it's actually saying. We make these mistakes. It happens. Nobody is questioning that. The problem is you are a game journalist with a large format. This is not some random channel with 30 viewers that thought this up. This is Kotaku, which gets tons of publication. You know, there are thousands and thousands of people who read Kotaku articles, and even more who read Kotaku headlines, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to catch you with the headline. That's what clickbaity is. Yeah, and it's also in Smash. It's not the first time Atlas misheard lyrics. There's YouTube videos that are literally for misheard lyrics. It's hysterical. Greg listens to the Theater Persona 3. The one will say "burn my bread" when listening at it the first time. The mistakes are going to happen. That's okay. The problem is when you are a media outlet of any kind, really. When you are a media outlet with the eyes and ears of thousands of people, you cannot make these mistakes. You should not be making these mistakes, especially when the mistake can be corrected by looking up a lyric list. It takes 4 freaking seconds to do it. There's no reason that this article should have, because I saw that somebody had posted that they didn't want the article printed. I'm not going to give any names or anything like that. That they didn't want the article posted until they had fact-checked everything, but the article was posted anyway. The article should not even have been written until the facts were checked. That's how you write articles. You do not write articles and then fact-check. You fact-check and then you write articles. So the person who was responsible for the article, apparently they are staying off social media. They are getting some flack for all of this because there has been a comeback, blowback against all of this, and rightfully so. Of course, on the internet, people take things way too far, so it chases people offline. There have been multiple celebrities for multiple reasons who have left social media because they have been, for lack of a better term, attacked online. So it's understandable, but it is not completely unjustified. This kind of mistake with such a simple fix should not be happening. Kotaku posted some sort of I don't even think it was called an apology. It's just a correction. But the correction does not replace the original article. The original article is still up. That is a problem. Because we know what happens in these situations. People form their own opinions based on the headline. They don't actually read the story. They don't do any fact checking for themselves. And then they don't see the correction. So they will go on forever. Remember that racist or prejudiced lyric? No, it doesn't exist. And if you want any better example of that, to me, spilling hot coffee on yourself at McDonald's. Look up all the information about that. Once I said that, I guarantee you probably had a version of that story in your mind and a whole bunch of jokes. Look up the actual story and you'll realize that story is 100% completely justified, but nobody knows that other stuff. All they know is somebody sued McDonald's because they spilled hot coffee on themselves. Vaccines cause autism. Unfortunately, that is also a very, very, very good example. Yeah, we don't live in that world anymore. Haven't lived in that kind of solid journalism for 2 decades. Ugh, yeah. Yeah, it's been confirmed that it doesn't, but people still believe it. Yeah, and that is unfortunate. Anti-vaxxers are most disliked people. Well, that's anti-vaxxers are ridiculous. I'm not even going to get into it. There's not even a second side to that argument. That's my problem when it comes to anti-vaxxers. I know that somebody might take this out of context, but anti-vaxxers are a lot like Nazis in that there is no other side to that argument. There's not a side to that argument that justifies their position where you say, oh, well, okay, maybe they kind of have a point. There's not. It's the magnitude of what they're trying to do may be different, but it's the same problem where there's no platform for them to stand. There's no legitimate platform for them to stand on. Their soapbox is actually made of soap and they're standing in the water. Thoughts on GameStop's new return policy. GameStop has instituted a new return policy where you are able to return the game, I want to say after a couple of days, if you just don't like it, and you'll get the full store credit back. I think that that's going to help them, but I also think that it's too little too late. I think that it's going to help them get people in the 30 days. Is it 30? Jesus, 30 days. I think that it's going to help get people in the store. But I don't think it's going to help them make that much money. Because How much longer do you think games? 2 years at the most. Store, yeah, it's in store credit. See, I don't think it's going to help them because they're not potentially they're not going to make any extra money off of this. Here's the problem: if you don't limit the amount of returns that come off of this credit, I could go in with $60, buy a game, beat the game within. If it is actually 30 days, I can definitely beat the game within 30 days, assuming it's not Sekiro. Return the game. Just not my cup of tea. I get $60 credit. Okay, I'm going to use that credit towards the other new game that came out. That doesn't that resets the timer. I bring that game home. I play it for less than a month. I bring it back. It's just not really my cup of tea. Realistically, you don't have to say that at all. I just want to bring it back. That's the only business that they need. All they need to know is that you don't want it anymore, unless they are somehow restricting this, which they can't. They probably have a policy against that. They probably do. I'm just not entirely sure what that policy is. They aren't stupid. You and I are probably thinking of different GameStops. GameStop. Okay, so they do have a way to stop that. Okay. Is it worse or better than trying to sell your textbook? Worse. Probably. Actually, no. It's probably better. Yeah. See, I don't know. See, AR. What you should be doing is photocopying every page of your textbook and then selling copies of that for dirt cheap to other people. Yes, it's plagiarism. Yes, I don't think other college students will care or rat you out for it. We used to have a similar policy at a game shop in the UK, a game station. They ended up having to change the policy because people abused it in the manner you said. They label people renters and stop dealing with them. Well, I don't buy games from dodgy stores. Secondhand, I buy a CEX, which specializes in secondhand. Okay. Yeah, unless they build in a way to stop people from doing that, that's exactly what people are going to do. And I'll tell you who can and potentially would do it first. Streamers. It makes perfect sense for a streamer to buy the brand new game day one and be one of the people streaming the brand new game on day one, and a week later when the brand new hot game comes out, go and change the game for that one, and again have a brand new game that you get to stream, and again next week and week after that, and every week a streamer could be streaming the newest game and still be on that original $60 investment. It's streamers, let's players. It is ridiculously easy for them to be able to do that. I've had a problem with selling older systems and games, and then went up. Oh, okay. Just games. Oh, okay. All the secondhand stores. Streamers would be the first ones that it would be justifiable for them to do that. And let's players. Yeah, it means I only need you only need a PS4 Pro. It just doesn't seem, unless they find a way to stop people from doing it multiple times. One of the ways would be, once you return the game, they take your information down. The game that you purchase with the credit is not returnable for store credit. Or 2 or 3 down the line. That it's really the only thing they can do. 3 refunds tops. Yeah, the only thing they can do is to make sure that a system gets put into place where they say, okay, you can't keep doing this. On in Clearwater, what is happening? Yeah, it's it. That's the only thing they can do, because you're not going to. When I worked at a game store for 6 years, and we had a policy where you could return new games. You could take the new games, and you had, I think it was 3 days to return a brand new game. We charged a 75% restocking fee. And so you got 75% back of your credit, which I think was, I I forget how much that was on a $50 game. I want to say it was like $37.50 or something. And then we sold the game as used. We sold the game as used. A new $50 game we sold as used. I think it was between 36 and 40, depending on how hot the game was. Basically, we recouped our losses from the new game by selling it for effectively what we gave the customer back. So it was not worth it for them to keep doing that. It was worth it in the sense that, yes, they would, for $12, $13, they were playing the brand new game, but we were still recouping our losses by returning the game by selling it used. Here's one, I do that return strategy for a couple months, long enough to build a following, and then make steady money off of it. And they've already benefited. Yeah, you've already benefited. You know, and that's a big thing when it comes to stuff like streamers, where, you know, you want to stream the newest, hottest games. You want to be day one. You want to be streaming Resident Evil 2. Day one, you're going to be wanting to stream Ghost of Tsushima. You know, all Borderlands 3. You're going to want to stream all of these games early. So if you do this policy, it costs you $60, and you get to do all of them. You get to make back, you know, based on ads and whether or not you're affiliate or partner or whoever. I mean, even a partner could do this. You'll make back the $60 almost instantly. I mean, I played Hitman 2 before it came out and only got 3 viewers. I mean, don't get it wrong. That's not everything. Recruiter Apollo with 101 bits. That'll get me on my way to streaming hot new games from GameStop multiple times. With that 101 bits will lead me towards a lifelong career of playing the same new game, or playing new games off of the same $60. Despite this new policy, you know, people are still going to complain because they can't get it in cash back. I think they'll complain. I think there'll be some complainers, but knowing what this policy is, I think they're just going to do exactly what I said and just get another new game. Lilac, with the 50 bits, no message, no love. Just need to keep my first place. Well, that's the message. I mean, I could start a career on Tetris alone. Yeah, and that one's free. So yeah, I do think it's too little, too late. I do think that GameStop has a lot of other problems, as far as money and as far as reputation, and very much as far as reputation. And I just don't think that Recruit, thank you so much for, what is that, 318? 318 bits. Very, very much appreciated. I mean, Lilac, I mean, if you're just gonna stand for that, and then that's up to you. But yeah, I give them 2 years, just because I still think they're in a phase where they're going to try and close stores in order to save money. They're going to try a bunch of other gimmicks in order to save money. I think this is one of those gimmicks, and I think it does come off as a gimmick. And I think eventually they're going to get to a point a couple of years from now where they say, nothing we can do is going to work anymore. Nothing we can do is going to work on the scale that we need it to save the company. I tip my hat, youngling. 2 years to either get their head out of their asses or realize that I think it's going to be a loss. I also think that within 2 years we may see the rise of another company that's going to pick up the slack. If you check back my other videos, we did an episode where we talked about whether or not gaming needs a GameStop. And I think it does. I think gaming itself needs a mainstream face to increase its popularity. Not necessarily to do anything. All the bits I have, get wrecked. Thank you, Lilac and Recruit. Very, very much appreciate all the little bits. I never thought I would be happy to see somebody throwing pennies at me, but I am very happy to see it now. Just like Disney, competition is good. I think that we do need a mainstream face, because the bottom line is thank you very much, Lilac. Don't you don't have to spend your last one. Don't spend your last ones. It needs a face. It's popular within our circle. It's popular within geek culture, video games. It needs to grow beyond that, though, in order for it to sustain itself. Most things are like that. I'm going to bring this up. I'm a little surprised nobody has brought this up, so I'm going to bring this up. Streaming has been relatively popular for the last few years. We have known of it. We have known of it. Gamers have known of it. People who go to gaming blogs and watch gaming videos and have already been watching streams, we know of it. Streaming has not had a mainstream face for the grandmas and the moms and the dads and everybody else, so that when the kids talk about streaming, they know what it is. They have no way to associate and ground that information, so they don't understand it, so they leave it be. Ninja, whether you like him or not, Tyler Blevins has been named one of Time's 100 most influential people of the year, and people have been talking about him, crediting him for the rise of gaming culture and everything. I don't believe that aspect of it for a second. I don't believe that he has been responsible for the rise of gaming culture whatsoever. Gaming has been popular for a long time. I would argue that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done more to mainstream geek culture than a streamer has. However, he has become that mainstream face for streaming that has been missing this entire time. When parents don't know how to associate with their kids, when they don't know how to answer their kids, when their kids talk about streaming, when their kids mention Twitch, now parents have an association with that. Now they see pictures of Tyler, of Ninja. I keep calling him Tyler like we know each other. They see pictures of Ninja. They've seen him on Ellen. They've seen him on these other shows. They have more of an understanding about what streaming is now. They're probably not watching streams anytime soon. But now that they understand it, they are probably more likely to allow their kids to become involved in it, whether they stream it themselves or whether they just watch streaming. Say what you will about 12-year-olds watching Fortnite and crowding all over Ninja streams and all these other streams. Say what you will, but those 12-year-olds are the ones that are going to grow up to replace us in this generation, in this hobby. When we get older and we're selling off our video games, they're the ones that are going to grow up and buy it. They are necessary to the future of the hobby. Younger people getting into the hobby are always necessary for the hobby to continue. The reason video games are popular now is because when we were 12-year-old kids, we played video games. The reason our 12-year-olds, our gaming culture is going to survive is because the 12-year-olds now are playing video games now, and they're going to take that forward with them, and they're going to teach it to their kids. The problem with when hobbies die out, it's because slowly but surely they're not teaching it to their kids anymore. We're still at the very beginning of relative beginning of this hobby. We're getting the first generations of people who have been gamers their whole lives who are now getting out of the hobby. So we need to replenish. You don't maintain the forest by chopping down the old trees and not planting new ones. As annoying as these 12-year-old kids are, as annoying as we associate them to be, they are necessary for the future of gaming. And they're necessary for the future of streaming. Ninja, like I said, you like the guy or you don't like the guy, you credit him for a lot or you don't credit him for a lot. He does have a very large hand in spreading streaming to a massive audience that wouldn't normally have ever encountered streaming. And because they don't understand it, they would have kept their kids from it. That's an important thing. That is important. So as a 100 influencer, I didn't exactly read the whole list, but I'd probably put him there. I would probably put him there. I don't know how much he's done to raise awareness of esports. I don't know, and that's only because I'm not familiar with him enough to know. I've watched several streams of him. He is a very charismatic person. He is relatively entertaining to watch. He does his best. He used to be a little more toxic and adult, and he has sort of toned that down, and I think it's because he knows that his audience is comprised of younger people, and I think that he has adjusted to that, and if anything, that needs to be commended. But he does have a lot of positive qualities to him, and his involvement has spread this to other places that would not have it would not have been spread to before, and I think it needs to be appreciated. Yeah, everything has a second side. Basically, like anything else, there needs to be some intelligent, well-spoken. Oh no, it keeps scrolling past me. Well-spoken, attractive, and at least pretty decent at gaming to bring it to everybody. TV Stewart, thank you. Oh man, I didn't know you're talking about Ninja. Okay. Do you think Time has chosen that person because he is the most mainstream? Aqua, yes, but that's influential. Unfortunately, the concept of mainstream and the concept of influential go hand in hand. You're not influential if nobody knows who you are. If you're underground, you are influential because you are mainstream, because everybody knows you. So they kind of go hand in hand. Rise of streaming culture, maybe rise of game. Yeah, exactly. Rise of streaming culture, yes. Rise of gaming culture, probably not. If somebody needs to sell out to make it acceptable, just like Tony Hawk did with skating in the 90s, you're absolutely right. Tony Hawk, some people would consider Tony Hawk a sellout to the skateboarding world. But the bottom line is, because he was a more mainstream voice for skateboarding became popular. More so than it has ever been, or than it ever was. Remember when gaming was considered a nerdy hobby? Yeah, it was 10 years ago. I like the idea of my niece and nephews being part of the next generation, but some kids are in for a harsh awakening when the real world isn't as, but I want it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dragon Knight, absolutely. That's probably a whole separate set of issues, but yes. To me, gaming has become a bigger and bigger thing. Been a gamer my 18 years here, yet only now my parents can understand what I'm talking about. Gabby, I wonder if your parents have ever seen Ninja before. If they know who he is, and if they do, if they know who Ninja is, I bet you could mention streaming and they will have some remote idea of what you're talking about. Hey, Portlock. I discovered him because of some of his Fortnite rages. He knows that censoring yourself can make you a lot more money. I try to do that here, and I do relatively well, censor myself. But at the same time, I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta curse. It's impossible. Even though I couldn't bring myself to curse right there, it's impossible to not have Ninja shoved upon your throat. Well, you know. Same reason movies are scaled down to PG-13 instead of R. Yeah, it increases profits. It increases your ability to sell it to people. It increases your audience, your potential audience. I love watching kids fall in love with characters when I grew up. It makes me feel positive about the future of gaming. Yeah, and we need that. There needs to be someone who is iconic. It's not unlike the GameStop conversation. It's nice to think that your hobby is niche into yourself because it makes you feel extra special. But if it's going to survive, it needs more popularity. It needs more new people getting into it. I want to see the list of influential games from. I doubt they'll have an influential games list. Or did I say that by accident? Apparently, Sony already released the specs for that. Yeah, I want to read those specs again a little bit more. I'm just not a super tech person. As much as I've talked about tech here, I'm just not really that good at it. But it looks pretty impressive. But I do want to see more of what comes out of that. Yeah, influential streaming, gaming as a whole, not so much. People hardly remember Tony Hawk anymore. Oh yeah, I love those airport stories. See, no, I would argue that people know exactly who he is. I would say that everybody knows who Tony Hawk is. that he is a world-class skateboarder. Yeah, people don't know what he's doing now, but I think that Tony Hawk is still a very well-known name in skateboarding. And very associative to skateboarding. Associative? Is that the right word? When you think of him, you think of skateboarding. They know nothing of Ninja or streaming, but being around gaming long enough, they've come to form their own understanding of the industry rather than it just being the thing that kids like. Hello, goodbye, y'all. Oh, hello, goodbye, Lizard. It was. Thanks for stopping in. It was lovely to have you. It's crazy to think how old some of these skaters are. Yeah, I know. It's crazy to think how old some of us gamers are. You see that latest for Tony Hawk tried to get around? Yeah, well, there's a post about that where it's a whole bunch of different things of Tony Hawk like being recognized but not as Tony Hawk. Back, what did you miss? We were talking about Tony Hawk and Ninja and how Ninja is one of the top influential people. I remember you bought the 5th edition of the D&D Player's Handbook a while ago. Have you played the game at all? I have not played the game at all. I went to try and play the game, and it was a group. It was like $5, and they were gonna teach everybody how to play. Everybody there already knew how to play the game, so I was very much in the dark. I never went back. They could not teach me how to play the game. You can be anything. Yeah, they were not very receptive of a completely new person. They were not mean. It's just they were not very helpful when it came to a brand new person. Spark 1048 in the hunt with the sub. Subscribe for 16 months. Look at that Triforce next to your name. I'm going to change that. Best Tony Hawk game is Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure. I would have thought that the best Tony Hawk game was that Crayola Razor Scooter game that came out on the Switch. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is extremely fun. I loved Pro Skater 1 and 2. I love 3 also, but Pro Skater 1 for some reason was so fantastic to me. Best skate game is Lego Island 2. Okay, I think that is going to... Yeah. Crayola Scoot, that's the name of the game. That game was actually surprisingly fun. Just didn't have online multiplayer. That was kind of a problem with it. I'm going to close that. That is going to do it for today. Thank you, everybody, for stopping in, for hanging out, for chatting about all of this stuff. It has been a blast. It has been a relatively busy week. What was your favorite N64 game? I didn't play a whole ton of them. Mischief Makers, probably, along with GoldenEye. I know it's a cliche answer, but I did really love Mischief Makers. And Sin and Punishment was another fantastic game that I would love to play again on the 64 with the controller. Thank you, everybody, for stopping in. If you are watching this live now and you have not already, please check the links below where you can follow on Twitter and YouTube. Twitter is obviously is where I post everything. Recruit Apollo with the 108 bits, still first place right at the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you were watching the video on the playback on YouTube, also check the links down below. I should have a link there for Twitter and for Twitch also, so you can watch these live every Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. unless I change that time. Thank you, Lilac, for the 100 bits. We're going back and forth here. Anybody else? Anybody else? It's like an auction house. Anybody else want to throw some stuff in there? GoldenEye was really good. Thank you, everybody. I want you to have an amazing weekend. I want you to play some amazing games. Where's that? Okay, I want you to play some amazing games. Enjoy. This particular weekend is Easter weekend, so if you do anything special for this holiday, please go ahead and do so. If not, go buy some discount candy. Either way, have a great time. I will see everybody next time.